Okay, aphantasia. What is it? Who has it? How do we overcome it? It's a fairly new term, and I have made I've spoken about it various times in the past in different videos, but I haven't made a dedicated video on this topic. It did come up recently in the comments, and I thought, let's actually dedicate a video to this because it is quite an important topic, actually. So anyway, let's do that. Welcome to my channel. You are entering the world of magic and mysticism with your host, Lee W. Johnson. Keep the lights on and help improve the channel by becoming a supporter for just $2.99 per month. Hit the join button. Okay, so aphantasia. This is actually a new term. I say new, and I really do mean new, a new term. The concept itself isn't new, though. Obviously it's not new, because as long as there have been people, there's been this particular phenomenon. But the understanding of it, the study of it, the realization of there is this thing called aphantasia. But it was first actually described by Francis Galton in 1880. And he did some studies on it and everything else. But it was kind of like, wasn't really studied that much. It was sort of mentioned and forgotten, but the name aphantasia was never used. But then in 2015, there was a team led by Adam Zeman, in 2015, the publication of a study actually came out. And the team, Zeman's team, actually are the people who coined the phrase aphantasia. And it was derived from the Greek phantasia, which means appearance or image, and the prefix a, or a, which means without, so without image. This word itself, this idea, this term aphantasia to describe a particular thing is very, very new. And so therefore, people have been talking about it more and more and more, especially in the magical community, because aphantasia, firstly, what is it? Obviously, it is the inability to actually see something in the mind's eye. You see absolutely nothing, and I'll get to the various degrees of how this actually functions just now, but that really is what aphantasia is the complete inability to see an image within the mind's eye. And when it comes to magical practices, especially when you start out, we say, do your meditation, do your concentration and visualization exercises and all of this. And, before this became a thing that was kind of known and spoken about more prominently, people would just carry on like that, do your visualization exercises, imagine something in your mind's eye, build up that image, change it, move it around, put some more colors on it, and keep developing that visualization. And a lot of people can't do this because they simply don't have the ability to actually see something in their mind's eye. So it leaves a lot of people wondering what's wrong with them. And there's nothing wrong with them, absolutely nothing wrong with them. They just have an inability to do something. We all have an inability to do something, no matter what it is. This is just one of those things. And unfortunately, as I said, it was just one of those early exercises you did when practicing magic and witchcraft and all other things. You would sit down and do these visualization exercises. Now, the problem comes in the terminology we use: visualization, imagination, the sight. These all kind of point towards the actual eyes. We see with our eyes. We don't see with our hands. We don't see with our fingertips. But we actually do, in a sense. But we don't relate sight or seeing to any other organ besides our own eyes. Okay, this is what we see with. We see images. And this is really what we're talking about. But as I said, a lot of people who have aphantasia feel like there's something wrong with them because they just can't do this. And apparently they're supposed to be able to do it because it says it in all the books and all the courses and everything else. Visualize something in your mind's eye. So why can't this person who has aphantasia do this? Because they just can't. That's really as simple as it is. So nothing, can't beat yourself up about it. A lot of people can't sit down and meditate, but they can train themselves to do so. In this case, it's a bit different though. Now, there's kind of like the Apple test. I believe it's called the Apple test anyway, where you are asked to visualize an apple in your mind's eye. Okay, and there's 5 degrees to this. So the first one is you have an image which is like a photographic image of an apple. You can see all the colors, you can see the reflection of the light on the apple. You've got a extremely vivid visualization of the apple within your mind's eye. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, then you still see the colors and everything else, but the details are a bit lessened. The apple, it still looks like an apple. It has, I said, it's red. It's a red apple. Didn't mention that at the beginning. Imagine a red apple. So you see the color red on the apple, and you see the little stalk and a leaf, a green leaf, and everything else. But it's the image. The image itself is a little less 3-dimensional. It's more 2-dimensional. It's a bit flatter than what it would have previously been. And then we have the third aspect of this, which is you see the apple, but it's in grayscale. And you can turn it around, you can spin it, but it's all in grayscale. There's no color to it. And then we have number 4, which is basically just an outline of an apple, or a very indistinct type of apple. It's an apple. You can sort of see its outline. You can see some kind of definition, but it's not really filled in. There's no color, not even grayscale that's filled in. Okay, so that's the first 4. And then we get number 5, which is absolutely no image at all. So the first 4 are non-aphantasiacs. Can't remember what they're called now. I think they're also called aphants, I think, people who have aphantasia. But the 5th one is somebody who has aphantasia completely cannot visualize something or create an image in their mind's eye. So when it comes to the first 4, those people can be trained. Well, the first one obviously doesn't need to be trained. Second one can carry on going as they are. The third one might want to start just training, working some visualization practices to enhance, to increase, the image so that it becomes more colorful and such things. And number 4 also can go through all the training. It just might take a bit longer, a bit more effort to know all this. But number 5, who cannot see an image at all, that's it. There's actually no way you can sit down for months or years and go through all of the visualization exercise and expect something to actually happen. There's total inability. Okay. So what do you do? First of all, we redefine these terms, visualize, imagination, and the sight or seeing. Don't think of them as being part of just the eyes. When we have the sight, or we are doing seeing within the psychic realm, within the psychic abilities, we are seeing with all of our senses, with all of our psychic senses. So don't think that it's just the eyes that we use. We use the sense of smell, the sense of hearing, even the sense of taste. We can use the sense of feeling, of touch, within the psychic senses. We can feel energy. You can sense energy moving around a space. You can sense where it's going, which is knowing. It's the claircognizant aspect. So if we talk about the psychic senses, or the so-called 5 clairs, we don't just use clairvoyance. That's the word I was trying to remember. We use all of the clairs. We use all of the psychic senses. We use the entire body, the entire being, We don't just use one sense over another. We may have a particular sense which is developed more than another one, or comes more naturally than the others, and therefore we would pursue that, and we can develop the others. But in the case of aphantasia, as I said, trying to visualize something in the mind's eye just will not happen. It won't happen. So my solution to this for people who do suffer from aphantasia is to read a fiction book. And as you're reading the book, take note of how you interact with the characters. For somebody who does not have aphantasia, what they will find is, as they're reading the book, they start to create visual images in their mind of the characters and what they're doing, how they're moving around, or them talking, all of these things. And this then becomes their visualization, their imagination. So for somebody who does have aphantasia, do the same thing. Read a fiction book and take note of how you visualize, how you interact with the characters, how you see these characters moving around, how they are interacting with other people, how they are talking. What happens? What senses are you actually using? Okay, then you can take that into your visualization practice, or into your whatever practice it is which requires visualization. If you are doing journey work or doing guided meditation or something like that, you don't visually have to see a thing in order to visualize it. You can sense it, you can feel it, you can hear it. In order to, that's how your visualization will work, how your visualization will work. We are all different, we are all unique, and therefore we have to find things that actually work for us. So I think this is where, when authors nowadays are writing about these practices and teaching these practices, they need to take all of these things into account. It's like, teaching meditation. The usual method is to sit down at the same time every day and create a habit. Some people can't create a habit, so that also needs to be taken into consideration when teaching people. It doesn't mean that they should be rejected. It doesn't mean that they can't do it. If they can do it, they can definitely do it. But they just need to understand that they are a unique person, and there is a way they can actually get around the problem that they may be facing, and actually accomplish the task at hand. So in this case with aphantasia, my suggestion is read a fiction book, take note of how you actually interact with the characters, how you do your own visualization, and then take that into your practice. Use the same type of thing. Okay, so I hope that helps. I know this has been a problem for a lot of people for a very, very long time. There's lots of ways we can accomplish things without having to think that we are incapable, or somebody actually saying that we can't do it because we cannot visualize. Screw that. You can still do magic no matter what it is. Okay, so that's my little chat for this Monday, and I hope it finds everybody well. Have a good one. Cheers for now. Bye bye.